Hello. Hey, Max.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. You might be quiet, or it might be me. It's hard to say. The Zoom
Oh,
person was loud,
might
but
be
you're
me.
quiet.
Is it better
Okay.
now?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, my microphone was far.
gotcha. I'm
What
good.
happened to
I'm
my name? Zoom killed my name.
good.
Did not do well with Unicode. Let's see.
I don't know what the wait is that. What is the squiggle above the A? What's that
I
supposed
don't
to say?
know. I'm fixing it now, but I have to like copy paste it because I have to
I
do it.
what language? I only know like Spanish has that above the N.
I don't know. Yay. Hey, fixed now.
Oh yeah, got the proper accents slash letters.
Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Oh, good.
Hello.
Ah, 9 a.m.
Anybody here a morning person?
Wait, oh no. Are we
I
all
don't.
miserable?
I think only Xander is a morning person, but he's not in this call.
The irony. I'd laugh harder, but my head hurts.
Yeah, I think he had a conflict, so he joined that one.
I used to be a morning person for like 1 or 2 months when I joined Google. Um, it was
What happened?
I
Was
lived
it jet
like
lag?
a little far away, and I would ride the bus with my wife. And then when I moved, I kind of stopped being a morning person.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can change it easily. That like because I feel like you like wake up and then you're like, oh, I'm so energetic.
Well,
Oh,
there's
I've
I
never felt like that in my life. I've
the
never just got up and been like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I don't think you're a morning person then. Yeah, I think if you were forced to be a morning person for a short amount of time.
the way to see that is what is your default behavior on the weekend? Like without meetings, without any obligations, like do you get up really early in the morning and excited? Or like you prefer to like be a night owl? Just because you do it doesn't mean it's like your natural state.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
you're saying maybe a better test would be is if your first thought when you wake up, I regret this. You might not be a morning person.
Or like, oh God.
I will say I went to Ireland once and I like didn't sleep on the flight over. I think it was the first time I was on like that long of a flight. And so when I got to the hotel, it was like 6 p.m. or whatever. I crashed hardcore. I woke up, is like 7 a.m. And for the rest of the time, I was a morning person.
Oh yeah, that the travel
Your body is still
excluded from
in a
this.
different
Yeah,
time zone. That
yeah,
doesn't.
that's excluded.
On the other KubeCon Barcelona, I was messed up the whole time, so did not repeat it.
Uh-huh.
Now I take Benadryl, so that helps me sleep when I like travel. If it changes like time zone significantly.
Benadryl. Doesn't that? Well, that makes me sleepy actually.
Yeah, so that helps me a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
To force you to go to sleep.
Force me to sleep
current
and then
time.
stay asleep too. Yeah.
I see. Makes sense.
Is this on the plane or is this when you get there?
Depending on the type of plane, if I can sleep on the plane, like for that amount of time, yeah. Or maybe I have to wait because I usually can't sleep on the planes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Plane's not the most comfy. All right, I'm gonna wait. Did we want to do meeting topics?
Yeah, looks like we have a few agenda items. Rita, did you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So we have RC cut. Thank you. I don't know. It's like, has it been a week? Probably not, right? But I think on the schedule, 314 is supposed to go out end of this month. Much like
So
for Kubernetes. But anyway.
the first RC of yet an issue. That was last week.
Yeah.
We can.
I don't really care. Have no really strong opinion.
Either it's from 17 or 19, so we can. So we can do it on next Tuesday.
Sure. All right.
So right before KubeCon, I think KubeCon edition.
Cool.
KubeCon Gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I'll set a reminder for that.
Just in time. Alrighty. All right, next one. I mean, it's up to y'all, but like at some point we should talk about what we want to make sure we have for 315. These are just some ones that rolled over, but also there are a few that I don't know if we want to commit to.
What's our cadence again? Every 2 months?
Every 3 months now.
3 months.
Now.
Yeah, I had to look it up just to make sure, because I was like, I'm pretty sure we updated the doc, but
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
yeah. So I changed the due date accordingly for all the milestones. If you click on milestones, now they have beautiful dates, due dates. So yeah, 315. I think these are still all valid, right? Were there any that you think should be here, but it's already here?
How do we feel about the multi-action enforcement thing? Do we want to do that in 15 or?
Well, I listed 2. The second one is the one you're talking about. With this, under a few candidates, if you go to the meeting notes, under a few candidates, the second one is the multi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's the one you're talking about, right?
Just opening now. This is the gatekeeper needs default plus override.
Is this the one you're talking about?
No, I was talking about the design doc that we were talking about.
Oh, sorry.
The multi-enforcement point enforcement action.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful.
I know. The gatekeeper enforcement action doc, right?
Yeah, the new one that we've been talking.
Okay. I mean, yes, so that we can.
Yeah, where is the issue for that?
So is this a wish list or is this things we plan on getting done?
Which one? The one that already in the milestone or the one in
Yeah,
the
kind of both, but the ones in the milestone.
I mean, these were the one that's already in the milestone. Either most of them were already in 314 or maybe earlier, and then we wrote over, right? So that's why they're there, or because we already discussed we want to do it at some point.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah,
then
I
the
would
ones
be.
in the doc, sorry, the ones in the doc are not there yet, and want to see if we want to add them.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I would be surprised, even like looking at the current set of what's in 315.0, if that all got done.
For sure. I mean, I think Jay's working on the hotel thing. Yay.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
then VAP thing, I definitely want to get that in.
What thing? Oh, the second one. Yes.
Integration thing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the second phase of the VAP integration, right? The
Oh, this is
stat,
creating WAP. I see. Okay. Makes sense.
right? The add status to config, that one is sort of a, I think, nice to have. We don't have, and so it's just for purpose of completeness, we should have it. So if we need to cut, that could be a candidate. For ask status to providers, external data, I definitely think we should have that.
Yeah. Also, sync set will, like, config will still be able to express syncs, but if people move to sync sets, that's probably the main reason people would be interested in config status. There are others, but
But we also use config for other things, not just for
right, ignore namespaces, that kind of stuff. I think that stuff is less likely to break and also less likely to change frequently.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say config status is therefore useless, as just pointing out.
Yeah,
Less useful than today.
for sure. I wish there's a way to like rank them or something.
Wasn't there used to be something in GitHub where it had an ordered list?
Well, we have the gatekeeper workboard, and it has iterations and stuff like that, but we haven't been using it. I think Xander set it up.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, that's not Xander's thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was my concern. Like somebody will need to keep it up.
And clearly we're not.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think again, I think as that is, we could move it out if y'all think that's less. And then, but what do we feel about the status for external data? I think +1 on that, right? Do y'all think it's important?
Yeah.
Didn't we
Was
say
it?
like a blocker for something? I can't remember now.
I don't think so, but this is like, hey, like the external data is initialized.
I don't remember. Brain.
What is this status going to be used for?
Like errors and stuff like that. Oh, I think we said this would be a nice thing for GA because currently it's beta, right?
Yeah. Errors in the gatekeeper part of it, or the external part of it.
Let's see.
A gatekeeper part of it, the errors would mostly be config errors, right? Like we don't try to establish a connection. You're not going to see, host not available or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most we can see is that if there's an issue reaching out to the external data pod or whatever it is.
Well, if someone has a malformed cert, right? That's maybe
stuff like that. Yeah, between gatekeeper and external data pod.
Well, in the config, right? Like, because the mere presence of the config lists the external data as eligible for connecting, but we don't actually connect until there's like a rego request to send an outbound request, or mutation sends an outbound request. So
Yeah.
the controller wouldn't have visibility into anything other than some kind of ingestion error.
And I guess I don't want to direct this conversation, but just a question: like, do we clear those out, or like how would that work?
How would
Say
errors
if
work?
there was a intermittent issue with the, I don't know, certificates or something like that, and then will we clear it out from the status?
Well, the way the types of errors that you would get, you would not get intermittent issues, right? You would get stuff that would be statically analyzable, right? So the only like kind of intermittent issue I could see would be expired cert, and that's only if the machine's clock rolls back.
If you say I don't know, like a service was misconfigured or something like that, that would go into the issue status, I guess, right?
Right now the controller wouldn't have that. Right. Like we could add something that tries to send a sample request. I don't know, like Kubernetes, for instance, doesn't do this with validating webhooks, right? You configure the webhook and you kind of get what you get when there's an admission request. Granted, validating webhooks don't have status at all, that I remember, which is also not great. Like, in my view, having some kind of status is good because, one, it lets you know if a thing has been successfully ingested, and two, it gives you the ability to more simply query for configuration errors, right? Like, if you had a malformed cert, at least you would know prior to making your first request.
All right, what was the first one you said? Show what?
Sorry.
Second one is query for configuration errors. I got that part. You said first one to show something.
Oh, like it's
Oh,
I'm trying to take notes. Sorry. Yeah.
that it's been ingested, right? That for instance, all the pods have ingested the external data resource, so you would expect to see it be called out to. I think this is maybe less important
Like
than it would be for
by
constraints.
each pod, right? Like each pod understands understands external data, basically, right?
Yeah, that particular external data entry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. It is basically for pods ingestion for the external data, not external data errors.
Right. Or errors ingesting the external
Gotcha.
data.
I was thinking as like the communication between gatekeeper and the external data, but it's more about like the, hey, pods say this is a new resource, I'm just gonna ingest it.
Yeah, the only thing that would kind of be applicable for like live connections would be events if we wanted to do that.
Yeah, I was misunderstanding. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I mean, for what it's worth, it is in the description of the issue. For what it's worth.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Anyway, I added some comments because I don't think we have the query for configuration errors in the why we need to do this. But let me also add, this is a blocker for GA, right? Is it?
I mean, I think it's nice to try to have status on everything. I think if someone wanted to make a strong argument for a specific kind, that, you know, I if it was a good argument, I don't know, I wouldn't die on that hill necessarily.
All right. I'll say we should have it.
Yeah, I mean, already for the config resource, you know, and we haven't really gotten complaints, hey, your config resource has no status.
Okay, so I think this is sounds like we want it for 315, right? Okay, moving on. I mean, please raise your hand if you really don't think that we should spend time on this for in 315.
Yeah, I think it's definitely nice to have.
All right, sorry, I'm just trying to move this along because
Yeah.
we have other stuff on the agenda.
Yeah.
Design, implement, batch publishing. This is also a blocker for something, I think.
I mean, so is PubSub a going concern? We added it to audit, right? The thought was we would also be interested in adding it to as an enforcement action. I'm curious if that's still a concept that has momentum, or have we kind of gone off PubSub? Or people using PubSub for audit?
I mean, we could implement that first and then do the multi-enforcement action. Or we could do the multi-enforcement action and add that on top of that.
I think if we wanted to do PubSub for a webhook, multi-enforcement action is probably a prerequisite. Just
Right.
because that would be where you could put the config. But it sounds like people are still interested. I'm more looking to gauge whether it's worth continuing at all, or if it's a failed experiment. And to be clear, I have no data either direction, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm not
on our side. I think people are using at the audit side, but not on the webhook side yet.
Gotcha.
So I think in the future, if there's a request for like the webhook, I think we can prioritize that. But since I don't think there's anybody asking for a webhook at this
So
time.
audit.
Yeah,
Audit
audit
is-
for now, and then we can definitely add it once like there's somebody to consume that.
Gotcha. And in terms of like competing priorities for PubSub specifically, there's also the bug around we continue to use config maps for PubSub, right? I think there were some RBAC concerns and some cache size concerns.
Yeah, I think that CRD is also on the radar, but I think it's Jay has been working on the hotel stuff, so that hasn't been the priority.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Oh,
good.
I was just going to say, do we think that the CRD is more priority than the batch publishing? What do we think?
I would say so. Yeah, like I haven't heard complaints about, hey, there could be a more efficient way to push all my events, which batch publishing would solve. But there was a thing about config maps that we got incoming.
Where's the issue for the config map? If anyone has it handy, can you?
I think somebody opened a PR, but that didn't get merged.
Oh, right. They wanted more selective caching of config maps, and they put a filter basically on was it the source? Something like that filtered out.
Yeah, they filtered out the namespace of the config map being cached, I think.
Right, which like doesn't super help because it's still cached by the informer.
Yeah.
But I think, did we accept it? I think we merged it.
No, we didn't merge it.
It's open.
Yeah.
Can you link it?
2959.
Sorry, I'm not able.
It's in. I'm just putting it in the chat.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm on my phone and the link is open on my laptop, so I don't know how to.
So I think it's also missing DC. I'll tag.
Hey, 8 hours ago, yay. All right, should I add it to 315 milestone then? Since we think
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, if we want to do any sort of triage, I would swap this with
Sounds good.
batch publishing, just because the updating the CRD would be user facing, right? And that way it can soak more before we promote the pub sub.
I'll comment on the PR for the CRD.
And also I mean, maybe I'm confusing it with something else, but didn't we add PubSub to the webhook as well?
No, it's just audit.
There's a goal to add it to the webhook at some point, but it was blocked on, we needed a place to put that config, which led to multi enforcement actions.
Yeah, and everything is like raveled together, and yeah.
Maybe I'm
The dominoes are stacking
using
up.
some other feature.
I think you're thinking about the cache, the external data cache, that we did not thought it was in webhook.
External. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't read Rita's mind.
I'm getting these features all mixed up. Like, thanks a lot. I was like so pleasantly surprised. I was like, whoa, we actually have it for 1.2. Yay. All right. That one's done. So PubSub, batch publishing is still in or out?
I mean, I'm interested in it, but I'm not clear if this is a wish list or stuff we're actually planning on completing.
Yeah, I think
Or-
CRDs would be more realistic here than the batch at this time. But what do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I think so too. CRD would be more realistic, and I mean we already have people complaining about it as well. So
Did you get any requests for batch publishing?
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, or is this like a sort of like high pass filter of these are the things of the like myriad issues that are out there, these are the ones that are kind of like top of mind and are getting like active consideration?
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning toward that last one. Sorry, go ahead.
Triage the list. Think of it as a list that we're doing ranking right now. And some of these we might say like, no, not gonna happen. But and some might be like, if I have time, let's do it, if that makes sense.
Kind of like it's not an ordered list, right? Because it's not
It
ordered.
is ordered.
Right?
It is. I'm trying to make, like, for example, I moved the status config to the bottom now.
Oh, I thought we were saying that it wasn't ordered earlier. Like
It
we
wasn't,
weren't.
but then Alex reminded me we can order it.
Oh,
Drag and drag.
edit milestone. Okay.
I added the CRD one and then I dragged it before the batch, FYI.
Good.
That's also stale.
Okay, then we can keep going, and then what if other ones are higher priority, we'll just bump it up. Alrighty, well, flickering, okay. Add sync set controller.
I mean, that one we're actively working on. So if we want to map it to reality, it should probably be up there with OTel.
Yeah, I dragged it to the top for that.
Okay. All right, next one, support for requires sync data. I think it's the same group.
I think Anlan is working on that. Like, I don't have much visibility into the status. Julian has been coordinating with that. Do you know off the top of your head?
I'm
I
not
think she has a PR out that I do know.
reading the last comment from Alex from the issue. 3 3030 adds the sync controller and readiness and purpose is that there is still a need to design and implement the error reporting UX being described. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I think the Online is working on the pipeline of from annotation to status.
So should we bump this up then? Because it's
I think I mean, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, it's a actively being developed thing.
mm-hmm.
I think so.
Okay. I'm moving it next to the sync set stuff. All right, so that's the current list. Let's go back to the doc. Enforcement actions. Do you have the issue for this?
Yeah, I tried to look for that. I could not find it.
Enforcement.
Oh, like an issue associated with multi-template enforcement actions.
Yeah, I remember commenting on it, one of them, but
There's definitely something that led to this. There's someone who is looking to exclude
Disable
like
for constraint, that's one, right?
yeah, it was like somebody that wanted to did not want to run audit.
Yeah, this was the one that you comment with the docs too. So okay, should I just add it then?
Which one?
Disable audit for constraint. This is the one that we've been sharing the docs in.
Oh, okay. What is the number?
Anyway, I'm adding it to the milestone.
Okay, sure.
And then you'll see. Yeah. All right, it's there.
Yeah, I think this is more related to that. I know there was a Slack thread about this too. Yeah, it looks like no.
How does it compare to other features if we have to rank it?
of the multi-enforcement action stuff. Yeah, I would probably put it adjacent to, maybe below, validating admission policy. You know, if it's priority or reality, I'm not 100% sure what our criteria is, but I don't know if it matters necessarily. I think it's true either way.
I think they said we needed the PubSub enforcement action before this though, or do we?
No. This is a blocker for PubSub enforcement.
Okay, I see. Okay. So yeah, it should be before the PubSub stuff, I guess.
Well, it's orthogonal to the config map one.
Yeah. Okay. And then let's go to the next item. Mutate restrict policy to specific verb.
Yeah, we should do that. I mean, mutation hasn't gotten much love, and this is like an active bug.
Yeah, that's why I feel like this might be a good one to.
Yeah, like I'm still for delaying doing too much on mutation until we know what core K8s is doing, but what we have should work as well as it can, you know.
Well, this one has like a lot of traffic, so that tells me people are using it and they care. And
Yeah.
all right, let me put it in 315. Are y'all okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's probably a medium complexity one to implement.
How does this compare to everything else?
Complexity wise or priority wise?
I think we should rank based on priority, because I think complexity also is hard to say because depends on how you design it too, right? And I don't think everything necessarily has a agreed upon design yet.
Yeah, I mean, this particular one, there's not a lot of wiggle room in the right way to implement it. Yeah.
I will move this up
Yeah,
because it's a bug in some sense, right?
yeah, as far as I know, Alex is the most adjacent person to be working on that. And you know, is right now the sync stat is the main thing. This is not like a 1-day fix to fix this. It's probably not, you know, longer than 2 weeks though.
Mhm.
So it's possible to do both, I would say. Well, the next 3 months, it's kind of weird because we've got Thanksgiving and the
Yeah,
other holidays. So
I'll put it like maybe before or after the VAP thing. That's like my vote.
yeah, that's fair.
Okay, I'll put it after then, just, I don't know. And then again, like, wait, did I move it? Damn, I moved it in the wrong place, okay. And I don't want Alex to feel like, you know, it's all on him either, right? Let's
Right.
just put it on the board and whoever has time can work on it too, right?
I wasn't meaning to lick the cookie necessarily. If you know someone who has the cycles,
Oh no, I just
feel
didn't
free.
want to pressure Alex because I know he's working hard on other stuff.
I was looking at this like coincidentally the other day, not sure if yesterday or the day before. I usually like look at things that are like in the back burner when there's downtime from my main task.
Mm.
Um, but I think my main focus is the sync set work.
Mm.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go back to the list. 3082. Right. Gatekeeper needs a default override functionality. This is like probably the most well thought out issue in
Yeah.
our backlog. I really appreciate this person spending the time. If you're listening,
Yeah.
really well thought out. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's early in the design. I agree it's thought out, to be clear. It's kind of early in the design phase. One thing I would like to understand a little bit better is the implications and some of the ordering. Like I put in one of the comments on the bug, there would be performance implications for Rego. If we were no longer able to cache constraints, there is maybe a route to sidestep those performance implications with iterable cache work, which we've been looking at but haven't really made tangible progress on. There's been design work. So depending, we may want to put in some mitigation work there first, although also we'll have VAP. So No. I was thinking maybe we could restrict the engines. Another thing that might be good to do is I kind of want to float this idea to Joe Betts to see how / if
VAP is gonna
VAPs, what's that?
like how VAP is gonna address it.
How or if, yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be-
that makes sense.
then we could go with the flow or not, right? If there even is a flow. So yeah, I'm interested. I think I see value in the. I'm gonna use the wrong acronym here. I want to say MUMU, but that's not right. The multi-exclusive, and
What do you guys call it?
It was MECE, mutually exclusive, and then
and what? Complete or something like that.
something, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a cool notion.
How do we feel like adding to 315, but only to look at the design, like no implementation at all?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
This is like all
Uh,
best,
Sorry, go ahead.
this is all best effort. It's not meant to be. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird that it's a design doc for a release milestone, right? Versus like we're kind of starting to treat this like a quarterly plan or something like that. I mean, whatever.
we don't have to include it in the milestone, just something we track.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, I'm still waking up. I don't mind it. I'm just being a stickler to stickle. I don't know.
No,
My brain
I mean, you bring up a good point because these milestones are meant to give signals, right? To, hey, here's what we plan on working on. So if we add it and we don't do it, it might confuse people. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think if it's not realistic, then we should just move it out to 316.
Okay. So should I
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I think it'll take a little longer than 316 to actually get implemented.
Yeah, or later, yeah. Just yeah, exactly.
Okay. I mean, at a minimum, do we want
But we can put it in milestones, like hey, design on 316, implementation 317, whatever.
Are y'all okay with maybe at least adding triage so that it doesn't get closed accidentally? Yeah. Okay. Alrighty, let me do that. What's a good label for this guy? I don't think we have.
Is there anything about design focused or like it's a feature?
Also, we have a lot of labels. Interesting.
We have a what label?
We have a lot of labels. No, there's no design.
There's needs more discussion label. Or I think we can add a design label, needs design.
Needs a cap.
It's in the fact finding stage.
It's a gap.
Actually, a gap, yeah. I can add a label. It might not be a bad idea, actually, right? Like to signal like, hey, we're in the design phase of it, which is different from like nothing. I
Yeah.
think it's good to.
Yeah, it signals a sort of like, yeah, we see what you're going for here. Let's see how / if it can be incorporated. Yeah.
So what's a good label? Needs a design?
Yeah, needs dash design. We can add a label. I can add it. One sec.
Adding it right now. Hold on.
You're adding it.
Interesting. Maybe we should have that first.
The thing I like about it is the exception story, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely see the value. Already, anything else we want to include? I think we have plenty actually, but any other ones that you're aware of but not in here yet?
I mean, we can look at the triaged ones and then see
Right.
if we need to add them.
Triage.
Yeah, I'm kind of like for triaged. Sometimes we add it, but don't end up doing it. Is that really triaged?
There's a tracking issue for sync set. Damn, that's a long laugh.
No, that was a laugh.
Yeah, it kind of.
Yeah, there's a tree.
It's very demonstrative of reality versus intentions. It's not like we're necessarily hurting though. Like sync set work is getting done. The things that are top of mind stay kind of top of mind.
Did I add the tracking issue to 315 as well? It's all over the place.
Yeah, and I'm updating that issue. We have the limit chart set done.
Boy.
Sync set. Oh no, that's a different one. That's expansion template. No.
We should probably add it to the milestone because that's the only way it's going to get closed.
Agreed. All right.
I'm pretty good about like looking at the issues that I care. No, not that I care, that I'm actively working on. So I'm using that tracking issue too for like any deferred tasks, any things that I say, I'll do this in a follow-up PR. And I make sure I follow up.
How to mock external data. Why is that?
I think I replied to that one. The person I think had a issue open. Sorry, PR open.
This is for Gator, right? They wanted to be able to test their external data
Okay.
constraints.
Yeah, there is a draft PR. They never marked it as not draft. Oh, they said, unfortunately, I will not be working on this anymore. So probably close this or take it over.
Yeah, I mean, I see the needs for making this stuff testable, so it's a valid bug.
I think so too.
Not personally a priority relative to some of the other stuff.
I mean, the work here is already done. I think we just need to close it out.
Is the work done? Are there, because I don't remember looking at the design for it.
There were a couple of standing feedback points on or discussion points on the PR. Because I remember looking at the PR too.
I mean, it's not just is the code good, it's also how did it actually work? Does it make sense? This is, I'm guessing, 21789.
2789. Yeah, it's in the chat.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is. Okay, and this is for the okay. So
I
this
guess
is
this is the one that adds it to Gator, and then there's like a separate how to market external data part of it.
yeah. This PR is a very much not related to that other bug. This
Yeah,
PR is
I thought
also
it was, yeah.
a concern. Yeah, this PR makes sense. I can't remember if the comments were addressed, but basically there's a security issue here where right now we're just reading config all from the same directory, which I think makes sense. However, if we add something like external data to Gator, we want to be a little bit more discriminating than that, because basically the user model would be take a bunch of config from a bunch of places and then like read it in and run things, right? But if you do that, you're commingling your input data with your policy data and your configuration data. And so for something like external data, a malicious person could write a config that then reaches out to, like, they could add their own constraint template and constraint and external data and basically use that as a way to use Gator as a vector for making queries. Right now, if they add a constraint or a template, like, who cares? They've locked things down, right? Maybe they DOS themselves. But once you can actually alter the behavior of Gator, that's more of a concern. Does that make sense?
But I think we have a flag for this, right?
Well, there was a recommendation on the PR that there be a flag for it.
Oh,
and
okay, I see.
that
Yeah.
we probably want to like architect the codes in such a way that it's very hard to have this commingling. I forget the state of this PR and how far it went down that path.
Well, for the sake of time, since we have 106 open issues we triaged, see, that deserves a laugh. Come on.
Retriage the triage.
But for what it's worth, there's a lot of them that are currently in the milestone, so yay. I say like asyncly, if you see an issue that should be considered, let's add it to the doc, and then we can discuss next week.
I mean, it's also okay to just not triage, like put that label, and then like, so it would go stale, right? And then if it doesn't, and then somebody's willing to implement it or comment on it or whatever, then we know there's a signal that, hey, somebody really wants it, or somebody's willing to implement it.
I've had to go into issues over and over to add is not stale. So I prefer having a way to not have to do that for the ones that we know we care about. It's just
Yeah.
Does the like I think
Lot
my
of
thing is,
noise.
like, does the community care about it? I guess like if it's going stale, then that's a good signal that like.
No, but there are some that we know we want to do, and so then one of us would have to go in there to add an update like every 2 weeks. That's
Right. I think it's just basically like prioritizing and then the time commitment on it. Because we put triage on it and then put everything on 315, but then somebody looks at the list and we end up moving everything to 316 or 17, whatever, then that's not realistic.
I mean, I think triage is kind of a signal that someone somewhere felt strongly enough that either this is an enduring issue or an important enough issue that we don't want to lose it. And now, I mean, I agree that there's probably a reality where some stuff that gets triaged like a year ago may no longer apply in present day. But that more to me sounds like, well, okay, the triage list, probably we should manually cull it every so often, but
Mhm.
at least it will be a shorter list, you know?
Agreed. I mean, and we can use this meeting to triage the triage list. How's that? In the
The
future.
more the benefit is we're not needing to call everything, just the things people felt strongly about.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the triage label. They're like, I don't want to keep adding stuff to things we already discussed. Like, that's just a lot of busy work.
Yeah.
All right, coming back to the agenda.
Do we want to go through the triage next week? Should we add it to the?
Damn, there's only 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
Is it? I could do it. These aren't actually big topics. They look big. Well, the VAP UX one, I could make it big, but I'm not gonna.
Go, you got 2 minutes. Go. Wait, 1 minute.
So the VAP UX, the long story short, I'll hopefully have something next week, but my current thoughts are there's going to be a command line flag to enable the feature / choose whether you're going to like opt constraint templates into VAP expansion or out of it, depending on your state of rollout, and probably use labels to do the opt in or out at the constraint / constraint template level. Any objections to that rough shape?
Can you go over it again? Sorry, I didn't quite get that.
The feature can be enabled via a label, or sorry, a flag.
Mhm.
And that will, like, without the flag, Gatekeeper just won't do anything, right? Until we roll it out to some other default. And users can choose 3 stages, 3 types, right? One type is off completely. Another type is on a per constraint basis, constraint template basis. I want to enroll things in VAP, right? So like I'm comfortable moving my label constraint templates now, or whatever it is. I validated that they work. Or have it the other way around and default to always generate VAP where possible. And then users can just opt out in case there's a bug, right? Like, oh, their version of Kubernetes is too old or something. So the generated VAP object doesn't work.
The label is on the like, so this is a flag on Gatekeeper and the label on each constraint template for the second option.
Correct.
Okay. And then for the third option, it's always on.
And then the constraint, you use the same label to opt out a constraint template.
Oh, okay. Opt out of it. I see. Okay.
So the flag just changes the meaning of what it means when a label is missing.
Yeah. So the second one is the inclusion. The third one is the exclusion, basically.
Right. And that's pretty much it. Like there's other stuff around like the actual implementation and observability and all that, but that would be the user surface for configuring it.
Don't think we can get done in 2 minutes, or actually it's already over time.
Yeah. I was just prepping people for, as I said, I was looking to have a design doc next week.
Oh,
I
okay.
just wanted to.
Yeah, let's discuss next week. We should also time gate the triage.
Yeah, and the last one is just celebratory that the the controller runtime commits have been.
I'm very excited about that. Yes.
There is a comment where they want to like slightly change the behavior so that it doesn't like fully delete things. I'm curious where that goes. But as of right now, we are on track to no longer have the controller runtime fork after some amount of time.
Wow. That's been a journey.
Yeah.
Hey, you should do the honor to remove the fork.
Oh, yes. Wait, did you just volunteer me to upgrade the K8s libraries?
But
But yeah. I will happily
I would never.
do that work.
That's been a journey. How long has it been? Like 3 years? 2 years? I don't even know.
Like 2019, like
Wow.
4, right? Because that was like, I think one of Warren's first commits was to get rid of finalizers, and the only way to get rid of finalizers was to have dynamic watches, and the only way to have dynamic watches was to fork controller runtime.
Also, we don't have an issue for this. Kind of funny. That's something I noticed. Like sometimes it's just like tribal knowledge, and you will never see an issue for those.
You don't want it to be public.
I don't think it's I think it's just I didn't think it's possible.
You don't want to talk about it.
I mean, honestly, I see more value in having the discussion around the issues to get alignment on priorities than I find tracking who does what. Maybe I'm oddball out here, but most of this stuff is like already in my head. And if it's like, okay, this happens, and stuff that's like actively in development usually has like a touch point every month or so, right? Where someone's like submitting a PR or has a question, or there's an issue update or something.
Well, I think it's good to just open an issue or something so we remember it later, or like others can look at it.
Yeah.
I think we should have an issue.
This one is burned in my brain because that controller runtime fork is.
Also, I'm adding it to 3.15. While we're at it.
Fair.
All right, there you go. Should I
Put it on the top. Put it on the top.
Well, I mean, it's time gated. We may not make it into 3.15, right? It just depends. Like, I don't know where controller runtime is on their release.
Bump up runtime. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, when is the next release?
We have to maintain the fork this long. I think we can wait a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the good thing is there's no fork to maintain. If they're not cutting releases, we're not updating the dependency. Yeah. We don't need to update the fork. Sure. So, yeah.
This is going to be on the 17 release, right? 0.17. Or will they cherry pick this? I don't think so, right?
I wouldn't imagine they would cherry pick.
No way they would cherry pick.
Yeah.
And
so
do they?
Might have to wait.
Is their release cadence like roughly based off of Kubernetes, or are they decoupled?
Remember, they don't do that. Remember, we asked. It's not always based on Kubernetes.
Got you. Okay, so it's realistic that it could happen before they next cut a K8s release, which would be good because 3.18 or whatever the next, not 3.18. Whenever they next release Kubernetes, the updated VAP code will let us get rid of the fork of validating admission policy that we have in the constraint framework.
I think we can do that today. So I remember I have a draft PR on 28. So that removes the variable stuff.
Does it? Okay, and it's also getting into gatekeeper, because controller runtime would be usually when I upgrade K8s, I also need to upgrade controller runtime.
Controller runtime already has 28.
Okay, but
28 is the one that added variables, and then control
right.
runtime does support 28 today.
Right, but does our fork of controller runtime support?
Oh 28? Yeah, I haven't even gotten to that part, but I think when I was testing it was working.
Okay.
Yeah, but I could not inject the variables into like what we were been doing today with the contexts. So I haven't had a chance to look into that PR again, but yeah. It should be possible today with 28.
Nice. Yeah, it's not burden, right? Like the VAP exception stuff doesn't even rely on us having the K8s VAP code, but
yeah,
it would be nice to not have a fork for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for both of the things. Yeah. I have to drop also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.